Hello, welcome to the latest live edition of Last Ball Boxing. This evening we're joined by Sean. How you going, Sean?
Yeah, very good. Thank you, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, all good, thank you. So quite an interesting topic, this one. Obviously, Tyson Fury's fighting Makhmudov on the 11th of April. But some of the undercard is very intriguing. Obviously, they've been pulling fighters from all different promotional outfits, and it makes you wonder what the state of boxing is going to be like over the next 12 months. Very interesting, very, very interesting. So we're going to have a quick canter through the undercard. So I'm going to start with the Felix Cash one versus Liam O'Hare. So I don't know how much you know about Liam O'Hare, but last time he was out, he got beat by Taz Nidam, who's a GBM fighter. I'm sure Taz won't mind me saying, because we've interviewed him a few times on the channel. Very new to the pro game. So that looks like a bit of a knockover for Felix Cash, a bit of a welcome back to the game. Because he's also been out since June 2024 when he lost to Tyler Denner. So he kicked it off, Sean. Give us your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess depending on your boxing fan experience, I guess you would call it, he's a fairly decent name, Felix Cash, isn't he? Especially among hardcore boxing fans.
Yep.
Obviously, once with Matchroom, so he was a decent prospect at one point, wasn't he? Before the Tyler Denny fight. Don't know why he's been out the ring so long. I don't know if he was injured or whatever the case was with him, but nonetheless, good to see him back. Can't say I know too much about the opponent. I have to say, as I'm sure we'll speak about a few of them on this undercard. But yeah, I mean, it's a good solid name for hardcore fight fans at least, and one to, as you say, welcome him back and see if he can kick on.
Yeah, I've been and watched Taz Nadim quite a few times. I watched his debut because obviously I've been following GBM from the beginning. And he's a powerful kid. He's a powerful kid. So if he catches Felix, he could get him going. But boxing's all about levels, right? We do, and obviously Taz is powerful. He caught Liam. I watched that fight as well. I wonder if Liam's got enough. I know that sounds harsh, but boxing's about levels, right? There's a reason why they've picked him for Felix, isn't there?
Yeah, is he still trained by Tony Sims, Felix Cash? Do we know?
Don't know. Don't know. It's a good question. So yeah, you'd imagine so. I've not heard about any split, so I'd imagine so. So, give us your prediction for that one. I'm going to go Felix Cash to beat Liam O'Hare quite early, round 3.
Yeah, I agree. I think he has to if he wants to sign himself back onto the scene. It's going to have to be, I think. So I agree.
Yeah.
Round 3.
Yeah, you never know what's left, do you, when they're out the ring for that long? But it should be a walk in the park. So moving on. I'm not doing this by order of fights. I'm just doing it randomly this evening. So Conor Benn, Regis Prograis. I think Regis Prograis over the hill. If he has got anything left, though, it could be a very interesting night. But I think these are both blown up, into heavier weights than they should be operating at. So give us your thoughts. Could be a very expensive loss if Conor Benn was to lose this one, couldn't it?
It could be, yeah. I mean, on paper, given the state Eubank was in his career, I know he beat Ben in the first fight, but probably you would have to say this is Conor Benn's best opponent. And I know Prograis are 140 and he's had better days, but let's not forget he was a bona fide world champion at the time when he fought Josh Taylor, although that was 5-6 years ago now, maybe a bit longer.
I've got on record as saying I think Prograis might have sneaked that fight.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly with that. Yeah, so on paper, you would probably say it's Conor Benn's, well, certainly his biggest name, I would say, in terms of international opponents. And it's an interesting fight because I don't believe it's at welterweight, is it? It's at a catchweight, 150,
right,
is it?
150.
Yeah, so even more slightly bizarre with the whole noise Conor Benn was making at saying he wants to get back to 140. I mean, I know it doesn't sound a lot, but as we know, £3 is quite a way to go in boxing. So can he really make 147? I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a hard fight for him. I have to be honest. I think Prograde's really up for it. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, this sounds sitting on the fence, but if it was just a ball draw, to be honest.
Conor Benn can't afford for it to be a ball draw, can he, Sean? Surely not, because he's getting paid reportedly 15 million quid to sit on an undercard of a Tyson Fury fight. I'm not. Obviously, Turki Al-Sheikh don't have to make the numbers stack up, does he normally? But you're getting a bit more shrewd, aren't they? Regarding we're seeing investment. Well, we've seen the fallout, haven't we, from Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, and Turki, where he's pulling up the drawbridge a little bit and concentrating on super boxing. That's all for another video. But I can't believe Conor Benn's on a one-fight deal for 15 million quid. It doesn't stack up. I think Dana White's a bit more shrewd than that, having come through the UFC route, right? So he's got to win, Hunter. He's got to win.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how true it is, but I've seen reports that Tony Sims is training him still. So
That's interesting as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, especially the whole subplot with Matchroom and how entwined Tony Sims is with them. I think his gym's officially called the Matchroom Gym, which says it all, isn't it? Yeah. So that's an interesting subplot to it all.
But there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, Sean. And again, this is one for another video, isn't it? But there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, regarding the move to Dana White and super boxing.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it, but before we come on this evening, I watched the Eddie Hearn latest IFL interview. And from what he said, I know he's a good salesman and everything, but I just don't buy any of these conspiracy theories just because how sort of real and honest he was with what he was saying. And you could tell it was genuine, how he was sort of coming across. So, yeah, I don't think any of those conspiracy theories are real. I think for Conor Benn, I think probably it's his hardest fight. I know Eubank was a bit washed up, let's be honest, when he fought him.
Yeah.
But everyone's always said, haven't they, that Conor Benn's not a very good boxer, essentially. And when he faces one, he'll come unstuck. Now, we know Prograde's on the back end of his career, shall we say. But what a boxer he was. If he's got anything left, I generally think he can beat Conor Benn.
So what are you going then? What's your prediction?
It's a big statement, but I think Prograde on points.
Oof. Here's a cynical part of myself. I don't think they'll allow it to happen. So yeah. I'm going for a Conor Benn dubious points win.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on then. This is a very intriguing fight. Justice Honey versus Frazer Clarke. Now, you could say that Frazer Clarke's heading towards the last chance saloon bar because obviously he got beat by Jamie TKV. And what was an underwhelming fight? I don't care what anyone tells me. It was a very underwhelming fight. And if Frazer Clarke has any aspirations about going to anywhere near world level, he's got to be beating Jamie TKV. So this is very interesting because obviously Justice Honey come over and fought against Fabio Wardley at Ipswich and did himself no harm. If anything, he stopped Rose during that fight. And if he'd have been a bit more tactically nous and aware, he would have won that fight. So this one's a very intriguing one, Sean. So give us your thoughts on who you think's going to get their arm raised.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting fight. And I think it's a mistake, Frazer Clarke's team taking it. I think they've took it with I think they've probably still got too much self-belief in Frazer Clarke. And I think, well, for me, it's harsh to say, but I've never really rated him since he's been a professional. I think I've said that before. I think
he came too late.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And, well, to be fair, even if he come a bit earlier, I don't think he was one of our best amateur boxers we've had. I know he done quite well, but, you know, we've seen it in the past with fighters. David Price, for instance, he done quite well. And look what happened to him in the professional ranks. Yeah, to a degree, Joe Joyce as well. But, yeah, I think it's a horrible fight for Frazer Clarke, I have to be honest. I don't think he's as good as what people portray him to be, as I say. And I think Justice Hooney, although he may not be a wrecking ball and a one-punch knockout artist like the people that stop Fraser Clark, saying that TKV isn't particularly, I think Justice Hooney outboxes him and potentially stops him late.
Yeah, I'm going Justice Honey on points. I think some of these fights are going to go long. I hope Fraser does find something because he's a genuine geezer, isn't it, from what we see outside the ring. I've met him a few times. He's on a level. But I just don't think he's suited to the pro game. I just don't think he's got it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Jamie TKV, we just mentioned, against Richard Riakporhe. Now, this is another intriguing fight. This is a crossroads fight, this for me, because they're both on the upward trajectory. Richard Riakporhe seems to be struggling to get opponents. No one really fancies him, do they? And he does look an absolute beast at heavyweight, I'll be honest. So, although he's flattered to deceive on his couple of bouts at heavyweight at the minute, so whether he's filling into the weight could be, maybe I'm making excuses for him, I don't know. Go on then, Sean. This is a difficult one. So break down who's going to win on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a cliche to say this, but I think it's definitely a fight that can go one of two ways. It will either be a complete hugfest and bore fest and be an awful 12-round fight, or it will be a classic British title level fight that we've seen so often. I think Richard Riakporhe is too good for TKV. TKV, for me, is a bit like you with Fabio Wardley, where you sort of write him off and then he comes through the fights. But I just don't think he's very good, in all honesty. I think Dave Allen would beat TKV. I think he got Fraser Clark at the right time for the British title. So Richard Riakporhe, again, as you say, he's perhaps flattered to deceive at times at heavyweight. Obviously, coming up from cruiserweight, he looked a bit of a beast there until he ran into Billy Smith. The fight I want to see, again, it's got the potential to be an absolute stinker, is Lawrence Okolie and Richard Riakporhe.
Yeah, I think that will happen if he wins this fight as well. Jamie TKV, like I say, people keep writing him off, and he don't really look the part. Does he? Always looks a bit heavy, but you could argue he got robbed in Manchester, didn't he? Where the punch was thrown after the ref split it up, and then he went on to. No one fancied him against Fraser Clark, did they really? Not many were calling for him to win. However, I think Richard Riakporhe could prove to be a bit of a Rolls Royce in the heavyweight division once he settles into the weight. And I think, like you say, skills pays the bills. So I think Riakporhe actually stopped TKV. I think he'll bust him up. I do.
Yeah, the only caveat I would say is he's trained there. TKV's trained by Barry Smith, isn't he, out at the Ben Davidson gym? And they don't tend to waste their time and energy on fighters they don't think are any good. So they must see something in him somewhere. I don't know how involved Ben is with him, but
it's all relative, though, isn't it? It's all relative because Barry Smith might look at him and go, "If you win a British heavyweight title, that's your ceiling." So it's all relative, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's probably the case with him, to be honest. That's a really good point.
Yeah. So moving on then, this is an intriguing one. I don't know much about the opponent, but we've got Troy Williamson versus a well-known Simon Zakenhuber. So I've looked at Simon, he's 28-0, but dare I say it looks a bit of a padded record. Not really beat anyone of note, and this, from what I can see, the first time he's travelling out of Germany to fight. So Troy Williamson on the upward trajectory. I still don't believe he belongs at that weight, if I'm honest with you, but he is a British title holder, so you got to give him props. I hope he's picking up a good payday for this because he's earned his stripes, Williamson, and he deserves some big paydays now to change his life if he's not already done so. So I think I know where I'm going with this one, but Sean, over to you. How do you see it going?
Yeah, I completely concur about Troy. Wasn't he contracted to fight Callum Simpson again, and that's just sort of fell by the wayside, that one?
I'm wondering what contracts matter at the minute in boxing with the current landscape, and if there's more pound notes on the table with one person, then they'll just go that way. I mean, you got Frank Warren allegedly putting court writs in left, right, and centre, haven't you? You got Alexander Usyk coming out denying his signing with Super Boxing. So it's all over the place at the minute. But yeah, I believe so. But this is a big card, isn't it? It's a Ring Magazine card, backed by Turki Al Sheikh. We definitely need to do a video on the landscape of boxing and where we are at the minute, because it's a very interesting. But yeah, I think Williamson will take care of this guy. I think he'll stop him within 6.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's interesting when you look at this card as a whole, really, isn't it? I mean, it's a bit of a mix and match between
Yeah,
everyone's
you got a lot of people who've not heard of, if I'm being brutally honest.
Yeah. The other thing as well, I mean, I'm sure it's getting well compensated for it. It's basically got, well, nearly all of Ben Shalom's headliners on one show, hasn't it? So God knows what that means for the BBC and future shows for him sort of in this period as well.
And did it show closer allegiance between Ben Shalom and Boxer and the Ring Magazine?
Yeah, I mean, looking at it from the outside as we do, arguably Ben Shalom's the closest fighter closest promoter to Turkey at the minute, isn't he? With how Eddie
so, because we thought it was Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren previously, and that's obviously not the case now. So who knows, right? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as you say, we'll have to do a video on it, but it's just a complete, well, from the outside looking in, it's a complete mess in all honesty.
Yeah, and I do wonder, again, we'll come off it quickly, but I do wonder where we're heading. What does that mean for cards, etc.? We've had a purple patch out for the last 24 months. Where are we now? We don't really know that, and we better use the word allegedly all over that video that we do regarding that. Okay, so give us your prediction regarding Troy. What do you think happens?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know too much about the guy, as you say, he's got a bit of a padded record. I imagine he's brought in as a opponent for Williamson to go up to a next level, what that level may look like. So I agree. I think he'll win inside 6 to 8 rounds.
You don't belong at middleweight, though, does it? Let's agree on that.
Because no, definitely not.
As you get, this is quite possibly European level, isn't it? And maybe if there's ever to step up to world sort elite level, is in with some killers.
Yeah, I just wonder if they, well, I know he's technically super middleweight now, but if they'll put him in with Eubank at some point.
Yeah. I don't even think he's a middleweight. Never mind super middle. But I suppose he's gone where the money is, so fair play to him, right?
Absolutely.
So top of the shop then, Tyson Fury versus Makhmudov. They're all holding hands and singing Kumbaya at the minute, aren't they, in press conferences and playing nicely. I think Makhmudov will give Tyson Fury some rounds, and there's a bit of a question mark for me over this fight because we don't quite know what we're getting from Fury, do we?
No, definitely not. And although you can never take what he says too literally, allegedly, our favourite word, he's training himself and he's sacked Sugar Hill. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. I mean, boxing doesn't surprise us, as we know. I mean, it's a big thing to say. I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out to be a draw or Fury loses this fight.
The interesting thing for me from a contractual perspective is Frank Warren part of the promotion gig? Is he not? Is he there purely as Tyson Fury's manager? I'm really intrigued. The business side of boxing intrigues me, and I think the fight's fairly straightforward for Tyson Fury. I think Makhmudov can't get around the ring enough. I think Fury will box his head off and then stop him late. And then we'll probably move on to maybe the Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury, which throws up a lot more questions regarding what broadcaster, which promoter. Mm. I think we're in for a bumpy 2026, don't you, from a promoter's perspective.
Yeah, definitely looks like it, especially the last fortnight, what we've had since the Conor Benn debacle with going to Zuffa. Yeah, it's going to be lawsuits galore, I think.
I think so. And then you got people like Spencer Brown in the mix of it as well, who's a bit of a conduit between, Queensberry Matchroom and Turki Al Sheikh. What happens to him?
Yeah, you've also got that guy, forgive me, I've forgotten his name. I just watched the interview. Conor Benn's manager. He manages Richardson Hitchens as well.
Yeah.
And they've both gone from Matchroom recently. So, yeah, you got him sneaking about there with them all as well.
Yeah, but we'll go into depth on that on another video. It's worth its own video, isn't it, regarding the landscape of boxing. So that's mine and Sean's view on all things Tyson Fury and his undercard on the 11th of April. Like, comment, subscribe. A lot of interaction with the channel at the minute. A lot of people agree. A lot of people disagree. I don't mind the name calling either. It's all good with me. So this has been Last Bell Boxing, proudly sponsored by Shore Building Services SC Travel Limited. And we'll see you on the next video. Cheers, Sean.